You can hear
What's
me.
going on? How y'all doing?
Good, man. What's up, bro? How you doing?
Hey, Black Couch. What's up, Rage Man?
What's up, bro?
Nothing much.
Shit.
Waiting. Damn. I'm out. There we go.
Should be fun being on the judge side. Uh, what's good, bro? See you moving out there, man. Getting that workout in.
And Terrell should be coming. This is why I hate time zones. Cause he asked me what time, so I said, cause I said 5. He asked me was it 5, but he didn't clarify what time zone. So
Mm.
I just sent him a message right now, so he should be coming in right now as well. So,
Hello, everybody.
Visible Woman's here. I'll turn on the camera once she sits down.
Hey.
okay.
Here. We're all here. Thank you, Joe. Get my beard and blunts ready. Let's go. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's kind of hard.
Uh, Thank you. Bang. Bang. Let's go. Yes. All right.
James Harden re-signs with the Clippers.
How much he signed for?
2 years, 81 million.
That's a good contract.
Yeah, they gonna retire. Damn, James Harden and Kawhi could retire in LA. I figured, but James Harden doesn't know. But I still think they got enough gas in the tank. But imagine like a big name coming over to, well, I guess they have to move somebody. But a big name could, in theory, come over there when they old, and they could potentially still win again.
You think the Clippers could get LaMelo?
Nah, contract probably hella big. Nah, I don't think they fit. I don't think they fit. You fit either. I don't think that's a good fit. I don't know where Melo could go. I mean, I would owe him to stay in Charlotte, but they ain't doing nothing. Like, he ain't gonna never learn how to win.
They just traded for Colin Sexton, so I don't really know where they go from there.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I do like him and Brandon Miller. But, yeah, I don't know what they're doing. Charlotte's an exciting team, but they just ain't got no plan. They look like.
Yeah. And they sent Ace Bailey to a place worse than hell. They sent him to Utah, then they just traded for Yusuf Nurkic for no reason.
That's funny. That's hilarious. Damn. Yusuf Nurkic. Wow. Wow. I'm still thinking about Penta saving John Cena.
That didn't make no sense.
Yeah.
Adam Pearce said that he said something about him and Nick Aldis gonna be talking about evolution on Monday, but you ain't even built it, so you got 13 days to build it essentially.
Yeah, I mean they could, but I don't. I mean they could do it, but I don't trust. Like I don't trust them. Nah, not this creative team. Nah, 2 weeks. That's not 2 weeks.
There's only 2 matches for Evolution too, which is really stupid. Like that's it.
It's only one. They only announced
like,
the NXT.
I don't mind. No, they haven't. They announced Stephanie versus EO and
no, they didn't.
Jordan versus. Yeah, they did.
They haven't.
They
didn't announce Stephanie versus EO.
Okay, that's why I saw a graphic of that. They're like, oh, here we go again. I'm like, oh, okay.
They ain't even had a segment. That won't even make sense.
They had a match. They've had one match, but it got disqualified by Raquel and Julia when they came up at the same time. No, it's not Raquel and Julia. Roxanne and Julia.
But I'm saying they ain't had no segment to build up to that. That ain't the only match they announced is Stacey Jane versus Jordan Grace. They haven't announced anything else.
For real. Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Because they ain't even showed Stephanie since she lost. Like she just been backstage.
Yeah, she hasn't really done anything since that. That's true.
Yeah. like hell, yeah. Was she on Raw? She on last episode of Raw?
I don't think so. Cause I don't remember seeing her.
Oh, oh, what y'all we spoke about Bloodline yesterday. I mean, it's cool.
Of course. Always looking for something.
This new Bloodline with Tonga. This is a new name.
Why are you doing it?
I love you. Get up first.
So, what did you guys think of the pay-per-view this weekend? I didn't actually see it.
It was mid.
It was mid.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I didn't really like it at all.
Nah, it was. Yeah, I wouldn't like. It was cool. It was mid.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of the better ready shows, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I think the PUWF crew basically said the same thing. They said they weren't a fan of any of the matches.
None of them were. They all just think it was a super SmackDown. That's what it was.
In Saudi Arabia.
Good.
Everything had to be different because it was in Saudi Arabia.
Yep. Okay, there we go. There we go. Let's see. Right here. What are we gonna talk about? I would like to see something in Evolution, something that matters.
Oh yeah. It's coming up.
There's no tag team match. There's no NA match. There's no nothing.
There's
Just
an
nothing.
NXT belt.
That's it.
Yeah.
But there's no North American belt.
Yeah.
Like, and the tag team's up in the air as of this moment.
Yeah, the tag team match had to be scrapped. I mean, yeah, it had to be scrapped because of Liv injury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going out too.
They could have put somebody else in.
Do a
Just
fucking
a
tournament.
filler match. Yeah.
Fucking something.
They need to do something with those belts. They can't just hold it for.
For
Ever.
months and months and months and months. No. We're not doing that.
They're not gonna hold it for long. They'll probably announce Roxanne as a partner on Monday.
Okay. That makes sense.
Oh yeah. That's right. Conveniently for her. Again,
Of course.
very
She got lucky. She came up and she was a rising star. Then she got buried a little bit for like all this weird storylines.
Mhm.
And now she's gonna get straight to a championship without even fighting for the championship. They just give it to her. Like, here you go.
Yeah.
And that's
like-
where we're like, yeah, she should
Yeah.
kind of fight for it, but not going to.
I mean,
No, of course not.
but the story there already, so I'm not mad at it.
No, I know. But like,
They're not gonna do nothing with them anyways.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Once you go up to the main roster, it's like kind of all over the place when they figure out what to do with you. Like
Mhm.
Lash Legend, it's like now that she's solo, they're like, I don't know what to do with you.
Fucking Lash.
We'll get there.
Fucking Lash. Swear to God. How would you don't fight?
What, for Evolution? You're going to see
No, I wanted to fight for Evolution. That's not the point. I don't want her to just go next week at NXT and fight Ren Sinclair again. Because you have no one to fight with.
She can fight with anyone.
But she always fights with 3
We
girls.
saw her fight Kehlani,
Yeah.
Nikita Lyons.
2.
No, did she fight her?
No.
I'm saying she could
She
fight
should.
her.
She could. She could.
Um,
She fought Izzy.
Faruka, Zarya.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that again.
Yeah.
I would like to see that again.
True.
So, good options.
Give her something, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys were talking about Ren Sinclair and yesterday on your stream, Ed. And it's funny that Ren Sinclair ain't doing nothing. But when you go to ROW in Texas, she already won a championship, gonna win another championship, and she's on a win streak. Over there in Texas.
On
And Booker T's
I was
promotion.
gonna joke and say Tubi, but not really Tubi.
No, Booker T's promotion. Yeah. So it's that. Yeah.
But she
Also,
but she's a big fish in a small pond over there, which is why it's easier.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
There's too many
I guarantee
people.
it. Yeah, it is. There's too many. And I guarantee you in 6 months, Booker T's Power Slap champion that's over there is going to be NXT soon because they're pushing her to the fucking moon over there at ROW. And she got that slap that's vicious. If she could incorporate that into wrestling in some weird way.
Oh, that video we saw?
Yeah, the video of that woman that knocked the girl out. She's like, oh, and she fell down. Like that's something you can do right there. And the girl's like, I'm the best. And she just comes in and slaps you. Ah, oh, shit, you're down. That's it. So, yeah, I like that. Shout out to the new Dawn of NXT. Stacks. Good for him. So wait for these guys. So witty. Right.
I just want like more gritty female wrestlers. Does that make sense? Like the reason like there's too many is because they're bringing in all of these like I don't know cheerleaders and whatever.
That's
else.
been the thing
like,
for 3 years.
That's what I'm saying. Like this is a recent thing where like they're trying to expand the women's division in general. So they're bringing in all different types of women, and that's awesome. It's representation. But at the same time, they kind of capped themselves, and it's like now they're just bringing in a certain type of woman and rinse and repeat, and we're not really seeing like as many of the like hardcore like I just want to fucking fight wrestlers for women, and that's what I want.
That is also a good point, but there are some diamonds in the rough.
For sure.
Like in Evolve, there's a woman called Layla Diggs. You've seen her.
Oh yeah.
Layla Diggs got
good.
that. Layla Diggs got that sick fucking Booker T scissor kick that she's just money. And she said in an interview in Evolve, she doesn't do public speaking. She was very insecure, and she evolved from being like a cheerleader.
Yeah.
So I get that. There are some instances where you get great. There are some instances where you get bad. Nikita Lyons.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to single out cheerleaders either, because like cheerleaders work their ass off and they're very like.
Alexis Bliss was a cheerleader. Liv Morgan was a cheerleader.
Yeah.
So they were cheerleaders.
So this is like the Instagram models. That's what it feels like.
Mm-hmm. That's what guys like. That's what guys like.
And that's why they just keep.
Yeah.
Ask your question, Nick.
Hmm?
Yeah. That's it.
I heard anything from Drew?
No, still waiting. I'll check his messenger. Usually check his messenger. Anything else. Okay. Sorry. Oh, what was I going to talk about while we wait? I don't do basketball, football. All I do is wrestling.
You didn't watch the pay-per-view this week.
I gotta watch that.
We don't watch SmackDown.
No, we can't watch SmackDown. We don't have USA. That's the only reason we don't watch SmackDown. If not, I would watch SmackDown. It's a better product.
You said what match did you like more, Randy and Cena or Punk and Cena? I like Randy and Cena more at Backlash. I thought that match was a lot better than the Cena and Punk match from yesterday.
Yeah, I've seen clips of it. That wasn't a great match. And they're saying that was like Cena's best match ever, by the way. So.
Nah, it had way too many shenanigans, but I wasn't rocking with that.
Right. I get that. Shout out to you, DT2.
Yeah, I really liked the match yesterday.
Here.
No, I'm saying like, have we actually seen those matches?
The
ones in the comment.
No, that was the one that kept in the Night of Champions. So that's what's up. No. People were saying Punk's better even going to shenanigans. All right, that makes sense. DT2, since you're in the chat, did you like Rhea versus Raquel last woman standing match? Just to ask a simple question, because again, I haven't seen it, but I've seen clips, and I mean, they gave it their all. Everyone said that it was Raquel's best match. It was like one or two botches that she did, but like, you know, can't really blame her. She hasn't done a perfect match ever, or tries to. Nobody gets Raquel. Love you, girl. Yeah, that match, Mr. DT2 or Mrs. depending who you are. There was just no DQ. Okay, all right. Yeah, hate no DQ matches because tonight we're gonna talk about the last one. I mean, on my channel, the last woman standing match with Wendy Chu and Rhea Ripley. That was a good last woman standing match. I mean, shit. Stratford has a good point. Let's keep it real. For Evolution 2, the women's IC title deserves the main event over the world. Yeah.
Yeah, they already got a story for the title. Neither one of the women's world champions have a story, which don't make sense.
Nope. Okay, DT2, you're a guy. My apologies.
I agree. It is a good story right now with Lyra versus Becky.
Because Lyra will turn heel.
And Bailey too.
I like the match.
I'm saying like the three of them are like in a feud right now.
Becky's stuck as a heel at the moment. Lyra will turn heel, and Bailey will probably stay babyface. Yeah. Or they do a double heel where Bailey turns heel, and the enemy of my enemy becomes my friend. So Bailey and Becky join together as an evil tag team, which would be, I mean, I would like that. That sounds a lot cooler than what it is now. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Rhea match too. I just think Raquel should have won.
Yeah, I agree. And that spot was kind of.
Yeah, I ain't like that spot. Too dangerous.
Oh, the table spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that clip. Like to give context to Invisible Woman here, she did a powerbomb, kind of like an elevated powerbomb onto a table. Only the butt hit the table. Everything else hit the concrete. Just actually, they missed the table completely. So like, yeah.
This is a good point about Alex. They had a street fight, but they ain't even go nowhere. They ain't even go into the crowd.
I guess he knows why. That's true though. You know what? Come here. Like, oh wait, give it. Oh, that is true.
Drew, you said. Drew, I don't think TNA stars gonna show up. Maybe the only realistic one is Masha, but that probably won't happen.
Yeah.
I was thinking Masha. She's the only one that was like that makes sense.
I can't really think of a lot of TNA like female wrestlers.
Technically, you can use Alicia Fox just to pop out for something.
I don't know.
She's on TNA. Her name's Alicia Fox, with TNA, she's something else. I don't know. There's again in the women's side of Evolution, there aren't that many. Like, there's a lot of women that can wrestle. Yes, but and Rage Man said it. You only have 2 weeks to build this up. It doesn't make any sense. You've had months to even think about this and be like, all right, we're going to set up storylines that slowly lead up to Evolution. There is none. There's only one, which bothers me because that means JC Jane's not going to defend her belt in Great American Bash.
Oh yeah.
So
she might lose this one to Evolution.
So Ruka has not said anything about the North American. So is she gonna defend it on Great American Bash?
That's a good point. They really haven't done
much.
And I don't like that. They haven't done much with the storylines. So it's kind of just like, okay, show up and whoever's gonna fight fights. So it's like the Royal Rumble, but for women, I guess. Like, I hope there's some storylines.
Yeah. DT2, oh, that's a weird thing because before we were talking, DT2 was all like pro JC.
Did you see it coming?
Yeah, right there.
Do people see?
Yeah, they see it.
Oh,
yeah. Sorry about it. Thank you, that. Yeah, like you give the belt to Jordan from JC, and then Blake takes the belt off Jordan, and then Jordan goes up.
Mm-hmm.
They already did one transitional champion, so there's no rule in doing another transitional champion.
They could do that with Jordan, yeah.
That's fine.
Because like she shouldn't be in NXT. I mean, not like her and Zarya shouldn't be in NXT at the same time.
That's a good point, Stratford. Lyra, Becky, Bailey, Jade, Naomi, Jordan, JC, Io, Stephanie, or Asuka, Tiffany, Nia. Like, they have all these different type of,
Yeah. I want to see more of Asuka. That was some shit.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, we didn't watch the match. We just saw the ending where all you got to do is sit on a person. Sit on the person, pull the leg back, 1, 2, 3.
And she fell. Fine. But then they just went with it. Like, get up, do it again, proceed.
Yeah, but the referee's like, you're in Saudi Arabia. I'm like, I'm doing this once, I'm out of here. Go. That's it. On the plane, I'm out. So I get that.
Didn't look good, though. Did not look good.
No, I know you still like her, JC, as a wrestler. It's just, And by the graphic already has fatal influence against Jordan. So it's not even JC versus Jordan. It's fatal influence versus Jordan in the graphics of Evolution. I'm like,
I mean,
Why?
the shoulders didn't come off the mat. It looked kind of sloppy, but the shoulders didn't come off the mat. It was fine. I think.
Drew, I wouldn't mind that. Do a battle royal for a #1 contendership.
Just let anybody try to go for it.
anything.
Because there's so many women trying to go for so many different belts. Just do a free for all.
And there's only two. There's only two in NXT. That's it. And it's always the same.
Yeah. JC should hold until August.
Okay. Say it, girl.
What's crazy? No, what's crazy is like I know so many people are hating on JC being the champion. I'm kind of neutral to it.
She sucks.
But what's funny is I feel like I haven't even seen her fight enough to remember her fight style.
Sorry,
So
y'all.
it's like,
Can y'all hear
I
us?
feel about her as a wrestler.
Yeah, we can hear y'all.
Can y'all
Yes,
can hear us
Yeah.
loud and clear?
Yep.
Yeah, we was trying out a new setup, and that's what
JC
took so
only till
long.
August?
That's a while.
Hey,
But we also wasn't prepared. We wasn't prepared, y'all. We wasn't prepared. We thought it was 5 p.m.
My bad. I got messed up with time zones, bro.
Oh no, it's all good. Where you from again?
I'm from Arkansas, so I didn't know you was on Central Time too.
Oh yeah, I'm from Mississippi.
Okay, so I didn't know you was on Central too.
Yeah, we live in Mississippi. So that's why we thought. Yeah, that's why we thought you meant 5 p.m., not 4. But yeah, we trying out this new setup, so that's why it took us so long too.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Same old.
Can I make this screen bigger?
Yeah,
Oh, I
right there.
can.
Yeah, right there.
All right, so how we going?
Abby, what's good, homie?
What?
Sister Abigail.
Bro, Drew, that's a funny question.
We on color people time.
I was about to answer that. Yeah. Like, if they had the money to bring AJ Lee just for the one night of Evolution just to say something, people will watch it. AJ Lee is going to pop up in Evolution. Like, just that alone. Just pop up.
Do they need to do something?
And she has her own
They
promotion.
need like.
They need 2 weeks. 2 weeks. As Ray
And they
Trent
already
said.
brought back Alexa Blake, so they're not going to bring her. You know, she's not.
Blake Monroe?
No, Alexa Blake. Like,
Alexa-
she was a big surprise.
Alexa
but-
Bliss?
Alexa Bliss, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, who the fuck is Alexa Blake?
Sorry. Okay. Yeah. For Jade.
All right, we're ready. Let's go.
Just got to her. Yeah.
Yeah, DT, we don't know. The Saudi crowd is just different, but yeah, they was blowing the mess out of Jade, and I mean, I know a lot of people saying that they had no pop or nothing for Oscar, but man, they was blowing up them damn cheers for Oscar.
Yeah, all the Asian women were getting mega pops. All the people that were not Asian, not so much.
Okay.
Yeah, Rhea and Oscar definitely was the fan favorites in that crowd. They talking about having a Royal Rumble. That's gonna be terrible for the women's Royal Rumble. That's gonna be just zero energy for them.
I gotta check
Yeah,
them out.
it's gonna be-
I'm pretty sure
Are
they
you
fucking
Googling
said
something?
that. We can.
Well, we know the Saudi money good because we know who took it. But let's get to the debate.
Let's go.
Nah, but how we gonna do this? For Real to Real and Ceejay Wolfe, they're gonna be debating Alex and the Invisible Woman, talking about our love stories good for wrestling. And the way we're gonna do it, we're gonna have we're gonna start with opening arguments. Both teams gonna get 4 minutes for opening argument. Then after that, whoever team one is, they'll get 7 minutes for a main point. Team two will get 6 minutes for their rebuttal. Then team two will get 7 minutes to do their main points. Team one gets 6 minutes for their rebuttal. Then both teams get a closing argument for 3 minutes. Me and Rage are gonna be the judges. Then the people in the chat, y'all are gonna judge as well. And based it off of what y'all think and who y'all think won the debate, and not what y'all think personally. So how we gonna decide who is team one? Whoever has been together longer gets to be team one.
Wait, what was that?
A longer name?
Now, whoever's been together, whichever couple has been together longer gets to be team one.
Okay.
Oh shit.
I think that's us.
2.5 years for us.
Yeah.
How many for Terrell? How about you? How many years for you?
A year and a couple of months.
All right, it's us. All right, it's good.
That's
2.5 years.
Alex
Yeah.
be team one.
All right. So for first 4 minutes, right? Ed?
Yep.
Okay, so all right, I'm gonna start in 5 seconds. Here we go. So we got it at 34 minutes.
Okay.
I'll stop. 3, 2, 1.
Go for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, love in wrestling is a cancer on the society of storylines, and let me explain why. Love as a whole, they think when they put in storylines, it brings attention, it brings views, it brings everything else. And yes, in a sense, it does. But it also brings what I call the cancer, the after effect of what happens when you put two people together that actually might be together or not might be together in real life. But then let's see if it works. And I'll give you just 5 examples for now because I have way more later. Let's talk about Otis and Mandy. Great idea in theory. Both of them are just, one is buried with another blonde girl who doesn't do anything, and one's gone making OF. So good for her, by the way. Stephanie and Kane with any other woman that he felt like he can just assault on. That was never a good storyline in general, but it was the early 2000s. It was a different time and era. Number 3, Lana and Rusev, and Lana and the cuckolding that proceeded to happen for about a year. That was bad. Number 4, Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth. There's a dark turn there, ladies and gentlemen. So there was no happiness at the end of the rainbow. And the 5th one, Steve Austin and Deborah. No words need to be said about that. But all I gotta say is that with love and wrestling, there's something bad that always happens. There's something that in theory works but does not work. So what are your thoughts on love and wrestling, Cardi M?
Okay. So my thoughts on love and wrestling is yes. I think that it is not integral to the art of wrestling, and it can often, like, going off what Alex said, cause more harm than good. One example is on NXT with Carmen Petrovic and Ashanti the Adonis. But, and we'll get more into that in the main points later. But just to open off, basically, our statement is that love and romance and wrestling isn't beneficial, and often it could mess with the relationship itself. It could affect the careers of the wrestlers, and it takes away from the character and the talent of the wrestling itself, and pulls too much attention to the storyline. So I'll leave it there.
Okay, I got 1 minute left.
Okay.
I want to say this, and the women that get objectified for these type of things as well, because the women in wrestling up from the 90s up until 2017, let's say, were used as objects. They weren't used as good story. They weren't good as good wrestlers. They weren't used as good. They're like, okay, you're a woman. We're gonna use you, and then we're gonna say you had sex with him, but you love him. His name is Val Venus. And I'm done. That's it. 4 minutes, Mr. Ed.
All right. That's a good opening argument. Now, Terrell, Ceejay Wolfe, y'all will have 4 minutes as well. Just let me know when y'all ready.
Okay. We're going to hit the 34-30 mark.
Got you.
Those are really good points.
Of course. I'm bringing up Val Venus. You better bring the A game. You better bring that A game, Terrell.
We'll talk about it.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Farid Terrell, and this is my lady, the beautiful werewolf.
Hello, it's Ceejay Wolfe. How y'all doing?
And together we are For Real Love. And we will be debating why love stories should exist in professional wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, professional wrestling is more than just suplexes and steel cages. It's also Storytelling. It's a blend of action, drama, and emotion. It's a blend of why love stories should exist because it brings out more characteristics in your fellow male and female wrestlers. And it leaves a vital place that is deep than just in ring performance. It also gives you an emotional attachment. Okay. Love stories create emotional investment. When fans see a character on TV that they would like to portray or one day would like to grow up to be, they need some type of humanized feeling. That's where love stories come in. Okay. You know, it's hard because it can intertwine within reality, but it can also give someone a soap opera type feeling. Love stories single-handedly brought not only male but female audience into professional wrestling. So with that being said, we can take into consideration with Macho Man and Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth, for example. Their storyline made fans cheer, cry, and celebrate. That emotion was a connection that most people need, even though it also brings in fights within each other, but it also leaves the same feeling that you feel in real life. With love, there is pain. Everybody experiences it. So with professional wrestling, they bring it in a televised way to keep people engaged. And that's why most people like story in professional wrestling. But with a story, you also got to have love, even though sometimes it can hurt. So with that being said, what are your thoughts on that, Miss Ceejay Wolfe?
Well, yeah, it just brings in that type of emotion towards the fans or anybody really could like gravitate while watching the product. And like, you see it in here, like, like you say, you just see it, might want to go through that right in real life. So yeah, it just it raises stakes with building bigger characters also with, doing these love angles. Like some of them that's probably like lingering around or backstage or whatever. Like you might putting two and two together with someone. It might like give them something more of a character while they're doing this angle with another person. So it gives another thing to it. So yeah, yeah,
Um, that'll be all.
Yep.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool.
Very nice.
Hey, Rage, what do you think so far?
I respect that. All right.
I think you guys both shared your arguments as to why y'all got the examples out too. Y'all was a bit more Alex and Cardi. You guys went into y'all had y'all examples out. I kind of just want to see where y'all go further into this. I definitely see where y'all coming from on both ends. I just want to see how y'all expound on these because y'all got a lot of examples, and I just want to see where it go next. So
Yeah, I agree with that. It was some good arguments. That was both y'all had some great opening arguments. So we're gonna get into the main points now. With so Alex and Cardi, y'all gonna have 7 minutes for y'all main points.
All right. I got this. All right, I'm gonna start at exactly 39 minutes, and make sure everyone that's watching hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe for Influential Sports. Get up to 1,000 before the end of the year, so he can just go nuts as he is in Arkansas. I don't know what they do in Arkansas, but I hope they have fun there. There we go. Now, let's start. Thank you for watching. Let's start this shit off. Let's go from present to past.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say how relationships in wrestling suck. All right, Lash and Trick, real life couple that bought a house and are happy together. Cool. Wrestling wise, they tried a little bit, they teased a little bit, and in the end, he's like, you and me got to go by different places, dog. Let's talk about it. Bye. And then he left. And Lash is doing her own thing, and Trick is doing his own thing. Which again, you could have been a good ass couple, and doing your own fucking thing. All right, fine. Then we go back a little bit with Ashanti. The Ashanti equation, right? Ashanti and Petrovic were just doing some weird stuff Petrovic knew Ashanti was a hoe. Ashanti was trying to not be a hoe, but be a hoe at the same time. They got together and only lasted about a month. A month. Where they had this weird winning streak and they lost. And then the end result is that Ashanti's like, well, forget you then. I'm going to do my own thing. And then they got beat up by Ricky Saints for just jumping on people's gangs. That's another one. All right. Let's go back a little bit more. A little bit more for me. Edge, Lita, and Matt Hardy. We all know the story, but for Invisible Woman, she doesn't know.
Tell the fans all.
Lita and Matt Hardy were dating in real life.
Okay.
Lita and Matt Hardy in wrestling were actually, together. Edge came into the situation, and Edge in real life took away Lita. Not even took away, they just fell in love with each other, and boom. Matt Hardy was written off the storyline, and I think if I'm not mistaken, he got fired. I think he did, but I don't think he legit got mad and legit beat the shit out of Edge in the ring and then ran away. That legit happened. I know that. Edge and Lita became a storyline in wrestling where they were doing X-rated stuff and possibly or allegedly having sex in the middle of the ring on top of a bed, but it hurt people because guess what? Edge had his own little wife. He broke up with Lita. Lita kind of faded into nothingness until recently with the Women's Evolution and a couple other things. That's one, right? Let's talk about Test. R.I.P. to him. Test was dipping his wick in everything. Stacy Keibler and Deborah and every single woman that was around, right? Goldust used to fuck it up. Shout out to Goldust, love you. But the main event, before I get to the second main event, the first main event, Val Venus. You know why love stories don't work in wrestling? How do you have a girlfriend when you have a legit corn star, because he was a legit corn star turned wrestler, go around, hello ladies, I have a towel, you know what's under the towel? And it would work, right? It would work. His love antics got so bad that at one point he fell in love with a Japanese woman who was connected to the Japanese Yakuza, and then they took him in the back while live on television, ladies and gentlemen, and cut off his pee-pee. Mind you, we don't know if he actually survived or not, but that's what happened on television. All right, we'll put that out there. Oh, let's talk about the Mark Henry and the Hand. You want to talk about that too? Was that a great love relationship where he fell in love with an old ass fucking racist son of a bitch and freaking a piece of shit, and then she birthed a hand in the middle of the ring on live television. A hand. But that birthed the name of Sexual Chocolate, so I can't get mad at that. You can't get mad at that. He got that out of I got that, but I got Sexual Chocolate. So good for that. Benoit and his wife. But that's not a wrestling storyline. I'm gonna go back a little bit more.
Yeah, let's
rest in peace to her.
That's not a wrestling storyline.
Yeah, it came to my mind. I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen.
The wrestling storylines, please.
Yes. Macho Man and Elizabeth. They were together. They were a great storyline. They were the thing to watch in the 80s. There's no doubt on that. But it's the 80s. You knew Macho Man was just a ticking tiny bomb of rage and insecurities and paranoia. And they broke up, and the life of Elizabeth went on another way, and Macho Man went another way. But everyone's like, why don't you guys come back? No. Because even back in the 80s, you knew Macho Man is fucked up. Elizabeth deserves better. Just out of fact of it all. And I love Macho Man. Rest in peace, sir. But you were a white sniffing motherfucking crazy son of a bitch back in the 80s, and you had no limits. And the things I say about this is that wrestling in general, for every time you try to connect something with somebody, it gets worse. It gets worse. There's always a bad thing around it. Again, I'm not even going to talk about Lana and Rusev because it was so bad that you had to connect three wrestlers, Dolph Ziggler, Bobby Lashley, and Rusev, and all three of them were just humiliated by one woman who the only thing that she had in her greatness was a cool entrance because the beat was fire. Lana's beat was fire in the beginning of her fucking entrance. I will say nothing about that, but your thoughts on that before I finish. Go.
Where are we on time?
2 minutes left. Go.
Okay. So I will say that there's a reason most wrestling couples, um, there's a reason most real life couples in wrestling don't have their relationship as part of a storyline. And we were just talking about this earlier, where I speculated, like, what if, Becky, like the man, and Seth Rollins came out as a wrestling couple, and yeah, again, comparing Lash Legend and Becky and Seth Rollins, like in other wrestling couples, keeping your relationship private is the best thing you can do, because clearly when you bring relationships into wrestling, it gets messy. And like, it's okay to date around and like be professional and respectful about it, but I think with wrestling as a whole, the focus should be like, storylines are simply a tool to you know enact the wrestling further.
Yes.
And it shouldn't take up so much space, and it also shouldn't be like too inappropriate with some of the examples you were giving, and just some of the weird shit that we put out there, because like, yes, a lot of adults watch wrestling, but let's not forget that we see a lot of kids in the crowd at wrestling, and wrestling should be something that's friendly to all ages, and safe for everybody to watch, right? So yeah, for those 2 points, just relationships and wrestling can be messy.
There you go.
That's
Boom.
it.
Thank you.
All right, so y'all, Terrell and CJ, y'all gonna have 6 minutes for y'all rebuttal, so y'all can counter argue whatever they said.
All right. We're gonna start at the 47-minute portion.
All right. Yes. Go for it. Damn, Lana.
All right, so even though storylines that surrounds love and professional wrestling can be toxic, it can also be a form of entertainment. And the reason being is because when you think about all forms of entertainment, when it comes to music, soap opera, movies, TV shows, they all have some type of relationship aspect in them that pulls the crowd in. So we're going to go with Matt and Lita, for example. Even though that was a real life, that was some real life drama. At the same time, they brought it and televised it for the world to see. Not only did they do that, they did it at the proper time. So with all these storylines, they do it at the proper time. For example, what's that fool's name? Adonis?
Adonis.
I hate that guy, but anyway. Ashanti Adonis and Petrovich, for example. Whole ass nigga. He's a whole ass nigga. But yet, this girl gave him a chance knowing he was a whole ass nigga.
He is.
In the year 2024, 2025, what we got? Whole ass niggas still getting chances with girls that we know that are good. Somebody is watching that saying, damn, I went through that, girl, don't do it.
You're right.
It's entertaining when the shoe is on the other foot. But people can look back at that and say, damn, I went through that. I knew the outcome of that shit.
Thank you.
We can say with Trick and Last Legend. I didn't even know that they even had a relationship outside of professional wrestling until that segment started coming to play. And my lady was like, oh yeah, they dating in real life. I didn't even know that because I don't really try to dip into the personal side of it as an adult because it can get messy. And I learned that from watching Dark Side of the Ring. But, Trick and Lash was doing a little flirting back and forth and shit like that. But again, today's writers are different from years on. If they would have had the correct writers, they probably could have wrote that in a little bit differently. But instead, naturally, Metaphor just broke up off of the strength of just natural causes. When really, if it was a good storyline, they would have broke up with Last Legend, leaving them, going with Trick, and boom, that would have created some good storyline surrounding love. speaking of good storylines surrounding love, let's go ahead and talk about Macho Man and Queen Elizabeth. Now, Macho Man and Queen Elizabeth, that was good. It was back in the 80s, you know, ticking time bomb guy with a woman who was definitely a queen. And see, even with King Macho, that like opened up his heart just a little bit, even though he got a little greedy with power, but it still looked at the fact of like Elizabeth is my queen. But with every king and queen story, you gotta have some type of turmoil. That's where he started feeling paranoid. He thought that Hulk Hogan was messing with her. He thought that he couldn't trust nobody around Elizabeth to the point of like in real life they just end up separating. And then he got with Sherry. Now him and Sherry just cut the fuck up. I don't know what the fuck that shit was. That shit was just beyond crazy. But with that being said, in real life, you have to go with the time. Stone Cold and Deborah, they showed their on-screen relationship, but behind closed doors, we didn't know all this stuff was going on that they had going on. But I'm not talking about in real life. I'm just keeping it kayfabe. But if you want to talk about crazy shit, we can go back to Val Venus. Around that time, what was popping? Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer had some crazy ass shit going on. And who was Jerry Springer's friend? Vince McMahon. All he wanted to do was just get those ratings. He wanted to beat the competition, and that's exactly what he did. He started writing his love stories as if they was Jerry Springer style. If people love Jerry Springer, then people just gonna flee their way to WWE. If they have crazy ass love stories, we can even talk about Mark Henry and fucking Mae Young. That shit was crazy as hell, right? But you see the same shit on Jerry Springer and Maury. Well, not to the extent of that, but we know what style they was going for. And guess what? Their ratings was through the roof through a stupid ass segment that's still talked about to this day.
Yeah.
Still talked about to this day. But like I said, every love story went with the times. So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, wrestling be at its best when it blends the hard action and the drama, really. And love story can be, if it get done right, it can bring all those together and make a great storyline. Like we said before, all the ones we had went over. But it ain't a witness. It's just a power to make good stories with love. So all they gotta do is the only ones that done it right, they gotta get the ball wrong.
And I want to end it with this note. Bianca and Montez. They don't show their on-screen relationship so often, but they do with Love and WWE. Love and WWE, it was a short little series that they had together.
That's
But
time.
yeah, but that was WWE's interpretation of love and hip hop. So with these being entertainers, just like every other genre of entertainment, they do the exact same thing.
I'm trying.
like that.
Y'all done made some good points throughout so far. I think. I'm trying to see. Y'all making some good points in the chat too. We'll address y'all after the debate over. But yeah, I think the Jerry Springer example was a great one. I think that was a great example. That was what was appealing at that time.
Yeah, but I also could add in too.
Nope.
I know it's
Time's up.
Oh shit. Okay.
Nope.
Yeah. Rage, when you got anything?
You guys went into detail. Y'all went into grave detail for sure. I like what I like that you guys definitely had definitely went more to details from your opening statement. I will say on for real to real, CJ, you guys gave examples why love resonated with the audience in several different ways, like the toxic love between like Ashanti, the Adonis, and Carmen, Macho Man and Elizabeth. Macho Man and Elizabeth. Who else? What was another example you gave?
Oh,
Uh,
well, the Val Venus and Mark Henry,
Val
and
Venus.
compared it to Jerry Springer
Right. I,
style.
I like how you guys kept it to storyline and how that resonated with the audience. Now, of course, we can judge things, of course, in hindsight and how they are viewed in today's lenses, which kind of segues into Alex and Cardi. Um, I understood you guys' opening statement. Of course, you guys lean towards why it doesn't, why it doesn't work. But as far as your examples, you really didn't tell why romance didn't work. You were just like more so retelling stories and like hindsight. Like, of course, we can like really we could say everything in hindsight, but there was really no like storyline critiques of for the I guess the biggest critique you gave or something or like was like the Val Venus storyline. And then the slandering wrestler, the slandering like you called Mae Young racist, you called Tess like whatever, like at the end of the day, if these people were together or not, they were working with each other and it was consensual when they were working together. So that doesn't mean anything. So um again, it was more so like retelling stories and in hindsight, I would say. So I understood where you were coming from though, but if it was just so more so you gave examples in regards to that to those storylines you mentioned, it would have made your argument a little bit stronger.
And I'm gonna say this. D2, he made a
Yep.
comment
Made-
about the Liv and Rhea thing. If they could have, it could have been better if it wasn't centered around Dom. Like if it was no title involved, I think, and or if it wasn't a title involved, I think it could have worked because they had the story. I just think the title being involved, they threw it off. They could have made that work.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
and now it goes to team two, and they have 7 minutes to make their main points.
Okay.
Terrell, if
You
y'all
can
want to
say
start on
something.
the 58-minute
No, I
mark,
think it's you guys.
All right. Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too.
Almost there.
I think it'd be interesting if the women start in the second
Okay.
round. But
You said we have
Life is life.
7 minutes?
yep.
Okay. So we can go with our main points. Our main points for the reason why love stories should exist in professional wrestling. We can start off with investment with the women audience. For example, when people find out that a woman likes professional wrestling, they get shocked. And then most of the time, the main reason why they like professional wrestling is because of how someone looks, or they see, a woman that looks like them, and they tune in. But then when there's like a storyline involved, as far as in with like some type of love interest or something to that nature, then it intrigues them even more because most of the time, female audiences like engagement and they want to feel a part of something. Same thing with men too. But as far as in with, um, for example, I could give an example of daytime television. Daytime television, nighttime television as well. We can even go with sitcoms. With men, of course, it's going to be for like a sports thing, and some men like a good storyline as well too. My dad, he didn't like, you know, wrestling for just for what it was, but he also liked that they had storylines as well. Particularly, he loved WWE just because they put on a good story, which navigated him to start watching soap operas and stuff like that. Because even in professional wrestling, they used to compare their storyline styles of writing to soap operas. That's where the whole inspiration for it all came about, with not just being a circus act. They needed something that will gravitate towards people, something than just flips and tricks. They needed something that people could feel a part of. Then that's when they started to tie in storylines. And then with kids being in the audience, some things can be inappropriate. I will admit that. But at the same time, the aspect of love stories is even embedded into children's movies and TV shows. Cinderella, Pocahontas, even SpongeBob. Hell, Dragon Ball Z, for example. It has storylines and it has love stories in it. You know what I'm saying? So the aspect of love stories being in professional wrestling should exist if they're done right. And most of the time, even in today's society, it's not done right. But like I said, it just depends on the writer. So those are just some key points as far as in why I feel like they should exist, because most people don't even watch it anymore because either it gets too real, because they look at what happens in real life with the storylines not going to plan, and then they get harassed because of how they look on TV and different things of that nature. But then it also deals with just bad writing. So if a love story is presented right, correctly, then it'll be some investment, whether it's a terrible love story or not. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, if it done right, it'll be execute very well for both characters involved with the love storyline. And but when it's involved, it hits harder if like it's being done correctly. Like betrayal, it feels personal. The fights become more than just fights in the ring, and they be emotional battles. So love story help wrestlers shows a different side of each one that's involved in there, and then themselves and involved as characters as well. So it'll become more than just like being the tough guy and all this and now being the heel. So yeah, main key thing is just if it done written properly or written right, it'll execute well for both of
Um, Closing, I would like to say, um, 90s era, my favorite storyline had to be with Test and Triple H.
them.
Triple H working his way to take Stephanie from Test, or whatever the case was with that, and just to see how that all unfolded,
Mhm.
it made the storyline interesting. Whether Stephanie and Tess was intimate in real life or not, it still drove home for most people in the audience looking at that experience and was like, damn, like, you know, I've been through that, or I've know someone that went through that. And we could even talk about present day with the storyline between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. And I even go with that with like, people that love their family. Um, what pushed CM Punk over the edge was the simple fact of like, yeah, it was a bracelet, you know, dedicated to his wife and his dog. Um, and that in particular put me in the mind of John Wick. That's that's what gravitated me towards that storyline, because I'm a big fan of John Wick. So I looked at it as like damn, CM Punk is literally the John Wick of the storyline. And just like in John Wick, he came out on top.
Love prevails.
Love prevails.
Okay.
That's good. That's good.
Okay. Got it. Okay. I want to hear you guys next. Okay. I can't wait to hear you guys.
All right, y'all gonna have 6 minutes for a rebuttal, so y'all can counter argue.
Before I start, yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'm before I'm gonna start at 105. I'm gonna start at 105, and before I start, that almost made me cry. Terrell, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. My girlfriend's like, damn, that was like just beautiful. Um, this is gonna be very interesting. All right, and we go. You know the difference between wrestling and TV shows? I'll give you an example. Triple H kidnaps Stephanie McMahon, goes to Vegas, and she's knocked out. They go to a drive-in chapel. He asked the chapel man's like, "Do you marry her?" He's like, "Yes, I do." "Do you marry him?" He grabs her first. "Yes, I do." And they get married. Obviously, it was a ruse from Vince McMahon. You know why I remember that, ladies and gentlemen? Because if that same scenario would have popped up in The Sopranos, everyone would have been said collectively, "That's a piece of shit guy. That's a guy that shouldn't have done that. He kidnapped her. He's gonna get his comeuppance at the end." But in wrestling, it's funny because oh, it's Triple H. He's just being a type of guy. The reason I bring this up is that trauma and wonder are the two things that people will remember for all eternity, from the day they're born to the day they're down. And because of that, all these reasons that love stories don't work for me is because it starts off sweet. Starts off again. And just to Ed Florentino and DT2, they loved the Otis and Mandy storyline. It never ended. It was just like a one-season show that was set up for season 2, but never ended. Most love stories that happens in wrestling are seasonal shows that never have a finale, and they just move on. And because they don't want to bring up the thing later on, it doesn't want to work. The point of I didn't bring up AJ Lee, ladies and gentlemen, is because AJ Lee wasn't really loving people. She was just trying to find what was missing in her soul, which was whatever the hell that was. And that wasn't love. That was just a psychological wet dream for money. For Val Venus, I was taught in the 90s, other than Jerry Springer and Dawson's Creek and everything else, was to, hey, you can be a hoe and do things and talk to girls, and because it's the way to go. It's just the way it is. That's not something that should be remembered, but I remember that because Val Venus was a okay wrestler who had a background and everything else. Everything being said, right now, love doesn't work in storyline because as much as you want to put the good thing in it, people will remember little of the good thing and most of the bad thing that happens before or after the events of everything happening. Cardala, go.
Okay. So, I'm going to kind of close us out with our last few minutes. I want to say, look at wrestling as a whole as kind of like building a house, right? And there's the foundation and the structure and everything. And I think what I want to close us out with, so that we really think about this, is the storylines and how, like, the role they play in wrestling. So I think that storylines are integral to wrestling. And it's true, Terrell, you make a great point that emotion and human connection is what brings us in, and it's what keeps us connected. That is absolutely true and important. And it's hard because I want to argue for love, right? Like, we're on the opposing side. I know. But the point is, even, saying that, like, storyline should not take away from the art of wrestling as a whole. And that's why I'm a big fan of Mexican wrestling personally, because I love the storylines and the color and just how fun it is, but it doesn't have any of the drama. It's just fun and wrestling. And I think that's the distinction we make. It's like, love in wrestling, yes. Romance in wrestling, no. Because I think it takes away from the art of wrestling as a whole. And again, it's not needed. We can have it, but it's not needed. If you want romance, there's other avenues for that.
TW.
Sure. But love in wrestling, absolutely. Like, bring back puppy love. It doesn't have to be messy drama, just sweet puppy love. I want to see more of that in wrestling. Some sweetness alongside all the violence. So that's what I'll close this out with. Yes, love prevails.
Damn it, Cardala. All right, that's all
Sweetness.
I got. Yes,
All right,
thank you. That's it.
That's it? Okay. Cool.
That's it. That's it.
Are we
Yeah,
we still have
that's-
time? Oh, we got a minute and a half.
Yeah.
No, that's
All
the
right,
closing
cool.
statement. Love in wrestling, yes, but romance in wrestling isn't needed. That's it.
Okay.
If you lose, we're proud of ourselves.
I'm proud.
Okay.
I'm proud.
Raise, what you think?
All right. I got a lot to say. I like both of you guys' closing statements. Y'all definitely fleshed out what y'all thought. I definitely think y'all as the debate going on, y'all listen to each other and y'all really getting the understanding of each other's and y'all own, reinforcing y'all own with the closing statement. But to that, I'm going to say, Terrell and CJ, I really enjoyed your point how um love and wrestling, how that introduces um other audiences to wrestling by making the audience feel. Yeah, that's real. That's real. Of course, the biggest example of that is probably probably the Macho Man and Randy Savage. Randy Savage storyline. Then you mentioned how your dad he how his introduction to wrestling via the storylines got him watching other stories. So that was a great example. And then all the other examples you provided, I really enjoyed that. Something else you said now you mentioned also how it can get too real at times. Uh but yeah, that also draws people as well. So yeah, I guess you were leading towards again um love love introducing audiences, love being an avenue to introduce new audiences to wrestling by making them feel. So by one way or another, that was true, and you provided that by your storyline. So I appreciated that. Now on Alex and Cardi's end, I really appreciated you guys' closing statement. I think you guys definitely fleshed out. I knew where you guys were going. I just wanted you to flesh it out a little bit more, and you guys did that. The romance over love thing, I definitely see where you're coming from. There are, I will say, as far as romantic storylines in wrestling, they are very few and far between as good storylines. Again, I was if you guys, I would, but this is just my opinion. I think you did a great job fleshing out with your closing statement. If you would have used Macho Man as the real only example of a successful storyline with A to B ending that it worked out like that would have been a great example. But but Cardi, you did explain how these storylines kind of deviate from wrestling, and it's kind of like it's like a season. I think you said this, Alex, a season that never ends or whatever, or it's just like we are taught,
Yeah.
we taught to forget about it. And I like that. I like that. But if you kind of went into that earlier, like it gave examples, like well, you did, but you didn't kind of go in there. You kind of went in more detail. If you would have used Val Venus, for example, because wow, that's his biggest storyline. What's the Kai Tie stuff, I believe. And then after that, that was pretty much it. That's all we know Val Venus for. And then Cardi, then you say sometimes it could get messy and stuff with the Edge and the Matt Hardy stuff, and sometimes it can just be sometimes while Terrell and the CJ say it can get too real, sometimes it can get. I wish you guys would have mentioned this. It can get a little silly at times too. Like the Rusev and Bobby Lashley, like where did that go? That didn't really go anywhere. That didn't benefit anybody. I mean, Bobby Lashley eventually became world champion later, but nobody really mentions that storyline anymore. And then people forget that Liv Morgan was a part of that. So that's something that the WWE probably wants you to forget about Liv Morgan. So that's something that you could have mentioned. But I would have also well, I don't well, if well in hindsight, yeah, but something that I would have probably said on you guys' end was actually saying how yeah, romance is sometimes it's just misplaced in storylines. And the CM Punk and Drew McIntyre example. Like I know you guys compared that. I think it was CJ and CJ and Terrell. You guys compared that to John Wick, Alex and Cardi. I would have said earlier how that was just kind of misplaced. Like the bracelet was the catalyst in this rivalry. Really, like yeah, like I mean, I get it, the significance to him and the dog and thing, but I think the execution of it, and then me personally, I don't think CM Punk kind of sold that good enough, like with any like hardcore promo, if anything. I think Drew carried the rivalry with his great work, but I think you fleshed it out. I think you guys fleshed it out. But you guys both did great jobs.
I I got a lot to say too, because I think like both of y'all made some good points just throughout the whole argument. I would have even and Alex and Cardi, I would have even talked about Liv and how because think about this, think about and y'all talked about them breaking kayfabe. Look at how far Liv goes with Dominic on social media to advance the storylines and even the Rhea feud. People don't look at Rhea as big as she is now because of that feud and how focused it was on the title on Dominic instead of the title. That's why people didn't really value the women's world title at that time. And then I think the point y'all made about well, it's kids in the crowd. I mean, it's entertainment, so they've been doing this forever. It's like even when you go back to the '80s and '90s with Alundra Blaze and people like that wrestling and Sharon Martel, they still have on the same type of clothing. It's just a bit more advanced now, but the clothing is still similar. And like, so this entertainment at the end of the day, and then it's like the certain things that we get introduced to as kids. Because I can speak on this. I'm 18. I'm the youngest here. Like even being introduced to cuss words and stuff like that. That's something we get from our family. We don't get that from wrestling. Like wrestling, most of the stuff you see in wrestling, you were probably already introduced to relationships. Like with this stuff that we did in elementary school. So most of that stuff, once we started watching it, we was already introduced to it at that point. So it's like we've already seen it. It's just more advanced because it's an entertainment. And even the TV shows you watch, you can kind of see it like that in some of the teen related TV shows. That's why I like the Jerry Springer example um that Terrell and CJ Wolfe made. Because at that time you got to think about what's going to appeal most to fans. Like obviously it's world wrestling entertainment. So the goal is to entertain you, and you have to do that through storylines. If you just want matches, you can go to New Japan. But WWE, they want to have you invested through storylines and it pay off in a match. So that's why. So I think that Terrell and CJ they made the better argument here.
Yeah, I'm going to lean to that as well. I think they kind of went into they had great examples. Their were sharp. Their examples were they went into deep detail with their examples, and then they final their closing argument just went into how ultimately all that can introduce a new audience in different ways and resulted ultimately new viewers. So I kind of lean towards that as well. But on Alex and Cardi's tip, I do think that they argument was very their argument was passionate, and they cleaned it up very well. I kind of wish they kind of used these examples earlier because they would if they used these examples a bit well they did use the examples, but some of them, but they kind of should have went into a bit more detail into them earlier. They kind of went away from that.
Oh, you
Oh, we're
froze.
good. Okay.
Okay.
Ray, you still there?
Nope, he's just yep.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah. No, I actually have to say it. Yeah, I mean Terrell won, and CJ won. Let's just be fair, honestly. Like they're in an extensive study based on all the storylines. Again, we could have talked about Liv Morgan and Dom and everything else, or Stephanie and the Stephanie Triple H storyline is even wackier as hell.
Yeah.
And it has so many with the Undertaker and Stone Cold and Vince McMahon and the incest story. It's a lot of weird things that could have happened. It never happened though.
No, I will say I absolutely agree. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, that instant.
No, I think you guys won.
Yeah, no, I mean you guys.
Sorry about that.
Hey, you good now?
I cut out my tablet. Was tripping for whatever reason. I'm on my phone now. But my point was both arguments were great. I could have either way. I could have lead on both sides, but just today I have to lead on Terrell and CJ side right now. But I want to see what the chat think.
So far it's 2 1s, and I seen 2 1s and 2 2s in the chat.
Yeah, it's 1, 2. Yeah, it's tied right now. Alex Schmidt, Stratford, Devon Dudley, they all whoever's in the chat right now, you're the last person, you know.
Yeah. But I will say, like, yeah, you guys definitely brought the facts, and you brought like good thought-provoking comparisons, like the Jerry Springer, and it's a good reminder that soap operas and wrestling are like this. Like wrestling is just soap operas with fighting in it. Yeah. So
I didn't bring up Enzo Amore. That's a whole
there's
other
a lot of examples, and I think that's my disadvantage is I'm very new to wrestling. Like I've only been a fan for like
a year and a half.
A year and a half ish, and I've only been watching what's current plus like a couple old matches.
Abby was a tie maker. Yep.
Okay.
CJ and Terrell.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you guys did great. Honestly, that's okay.
Yeah, y'all definitely did great too.
Yeah, thank you, Abby.
Like I was saying, that's why.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's why I had to. We was trying to that's why I had to agree that sometimes it could get a little too real. Like they had some real good examples of how intertwining it into real life can affect personal relationships. We could talk about Edge and Matt. We could talk about fucking Rusev and Lana. We could talk about all kind of relationships that went left, Macho and Elizabeth. But at the end of the day, that's
Chuck
what pulls people in. People love. We just got to face facts that people love drama. And just like with drama, for example, we still got one going on now right in front of us, and it teaches us life lessons. You know what I'm saying? In a certain extent, it teaches us life lessons. We can even go with Dirty Dom, Dirty Dom and Rhea. Rhea Ripley, she was out on injury, and he ended up falling for Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan is out on injury, and now there's speculation that he could fall for Roxanne Perez, even though we know he's married in real life. But the story just teaches us in some cases, the way you get them is the way you lose them.
Yeah.
So
very true.
We also got to look at it from it's still a TV show at the end of the day. Like it's storylines and they pay off in wrestling. We're still looking at a TV show at the end of the day.
And like Ed, you was right. A lot of stuff that we looked at as kids, we was already introduced. Hell, growing up in Chicago, I could go down a rabbit hole of shit I was introduced to before I even started watching wrestling. Like, and I started watching wrestling when I was 5 going on 6.
Wow. Yeah, same here.
So
the 90s were wild. I will say that. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
All right.
I had a point, but I forgot it. So go back to that.
But
But
with
like I
that being
said, people
Yeah, no,
people
this
learn
was
from
this
it.
was a great debate, and I mean, I think.
I think Ed.
Does
oh, you
anyone?
finna say
Okay.
something?
Oh no.
No. Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna say, no, I mean, like, shout out to all the healthy couples in wrestling, like the ones that we never hear about. Like that's the difference.
Yeah.
Like we never talk about the healthy couples like Lash Legend and Hank Ledger and Danny Palmer and like all these other couple, Thea Hale and
For now, Harlem Lewis.
Harlem Lewis.
Until Harlem Lewis or he'll get bored.
yeah, and don't speculate
until they come on now.
But
Come on.
no, like we don't talk about the healthy couples. We talk about the drama. So that's the distinction. Like we want romance, but really we want drama. So it's like
Edge and
Yeah,
Beth
like
Phoenix. They're still
Yeah,
together.
we left
got
out. Yeah, we
house
left out a
kids.
lot of storylines though. It's a lot of storylines we could have dipped into. King Booker and Charmel, Jimmy Uso and Naomi. Who's
Mandy
they beefing
Rose.
with? Yeah, Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose played a big part in that storyline.
Oh yeah,
Mandy
you're
Rose
right.
is trying to steal Jimmy Uso.
If you would have brought up
Right.
King,
I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you would have brought up the King Booker and Charmel, I would have brought up the Kurt Angle and the bestiality stuff, and that would have been automatic. There's a storyline. Kurt Angle popped out of nowhere. Like that's always damn.
Wow, that is
So
crazy.
I remember that too. And then Mandy
But I do think love stories can work for most people because I feel like the two love stories that Mandy Rose did, I feel like those two got the best out of Mandy Rose. Like the stuff she did with Naomi, then the Sonya Deville SummerSlam, I felt like they got the best out of Mandy Rose because everybody has their specialty where they best at. So that worked well for Mandy Rose on the main roster because those are two biggest programs, in my opinion, until she went back to NXT.
Oh yeah.
And I love how I do love how Cardi M brought up the aspect of the difference between a love story and romance. Well, it could still be intertwined in the same thing, but yeah, as far as in like romanticism, like we don't really see that too much. Really too much on any television. Like even in the music, they don't even express romance anymore. They like fuck this bitch and fuck that hoe and you know what I'm saying? Like love stories gotta have drama.
Ashanti texting everybody.
When the last time we seen that in wrestling though? When the last time you really think we seen that in wrestling?
Shit.
The last time we really, the only time I could really think of it before it went left, was that, Eddie Guerrero in China was really romantic at first. That was romantic.
That's romantic. Yeah. Facts. That's a good one. I was gonna say Zack Ryder. I was gonna say Zack Ryder trying to get Eve Torres. At first. I was gonna say that, but and then John Cena just took her for whatever reason.
Yeah.
John Cena just took her for whatever reason.
Yeah. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was wild. That was wild.
What reason? You know damn well what reason.
Well, I mean, on screen relationships, we had Maurice and Miz. They was romantic.
But they ain't showing.
I don't think
really a storyline. They came back. That's like they dynamic. They came back on screen married. They didn't get married on screen. Like I can't.
Yeah. Oh, they're still backstage.
I would have countered that and said, okay, Maurice and Miz.
No. I take that back though because it really back in 2009. If you was watching Raw, they did have segments when the Miz was trying to get on Maurice.
Yeah.
You remember that? So
yeah.
So yeah.
It was like the chick. So basically, the chick magnet got the model chick, and he just turned into a family man.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
he put his play. He let go of his play away.
The only thing that came out of that. Yeah, but you know what? To be fair, the only good thing out of that Miz and Maurice thing was Miz's dad. That's it. Like, if you just gave me Miz's dad and all the antics that he's done in my life, like, I'm fine with that. But I don't need Miz and Maurice. Like, bye. Just give me Miz's dad on a segment every week on Raw.
Yeah,
I'm happy.
Because I was gonna say too, like even with Seth and Becky Lynch, I mean, yeah, we know that they're married, but there was real deal like heat behind that because I think Bailey and Seth Rollins actually was dating, or they liked each other,
Try to talk to each
or
other.
they tried talking to each other, and Becky Lynch just I don't know. That's allegedly, I guess. But
Yeah,
Bailey did say that in that promo though.
Wow.
now I
Like you
remember.
knew, like you knew Seth liked me more. I was like, whoa.
Now Becky had, because I read Becky's book. I don't know if she talked about that, but I remember she said that she didn't want to do the story at first with Lacey Evans and Baron Corbin because they had just started dating at that time. So as soon as WWE found out, there was like less than 30 minutes story.
Wow.
Damn.
Well, guys, what a debate. That was a great debate, like really.
Yeah,
I'm proud to be a judge. It was fun being on the judge side. I didn't talk much, but that was fun.
Yeah, Ray, you always debating.
Thanks.
I ain't gonna lie, my head hurt. I've never done debate, and she's never done debate. It was.
Y'all did a good job. Everybody did a good job.
Yeah, y'all did a good job. Let me address this before we head out. It said Drew brought up Rhea Ripley might be getting another title shot. She's supposed to be kicking off Raw tomorrow. I seen that. Rhea versus Io. I'm not mad at the match. I'm just, how do we go from pinning the tag team champion to you getting the title match? Now they gonna do it because they don't have anybody else for Io to wrestle. But this WWE, they had so much stuff they could have did some stuff with Io. Like if Io retains, then she's likely facing Asuka at SummerSlam, in my opinion. I think they don't have anything else for Io, so I can't even be mad at it. That Rhea might get another shot.
I wouldn't mind that. Yeah.
Here's a weird fact that I found out. Here's a weird fact that I found out. Since WrestleMania, Io has not defended her belt once.
Yeah, because they stuck in a tag team with Rhea Ripley after WrestleMania for some reason.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
Yeah, so I'm like, give me a title match, just please. You took it off of everyone just to give.
I miss some of the fundamental stuff in wrestling, bro. Like I remember back in the day, like a GM would if a wrestler. This back in the day, like when the stars were full time too, so there wasn't no part timers. Back at like when a wrestler, when a champion didn't defend a championship for 30 days, they got stripped.
Yeah,
I'm glad Evolution is not happening in Saudi Arabia.
Damn.
Magic Council.
Imagine how that crowd is gonna be.
Magic Council.
No, my God. So
Drew
put out a picture in a wrestling post.
Is that real? Is that real? Is that real?
Okay. I'm finna check because Drew sent me something on Discord. I'm finna check, but he said it's a battle royal happening at Evolution.
I ain't gonna lie, like not to discredit no one, but when people send me stuff, I always ask for the source first.
Right.
That's just me. I have a pet peeve with that. I always got to know, okay, who put the news out? Like who stated it? Was it WWE themselves or was it somebody that's legit?
Yeah.
What I was gonna say? I was gonna say something about
I'm reading the article now. Drew told me on Discord.
Rhea Ripley didn't need to win that match. Rhea Ripley, she didn't need to win. Sami Zayn, he didn't need to win. They could have took a loss.
Nope.
Yeah.
But Night of Champions is a whole different topic.
Yeah.
Two title defenses. Two title defenses on the Night of Champions.
We didn't talk about this on some Kai streams, but none of the heels are really taken serious because they can't even get the heel heat if they not winning. Like if Raquel has Roxanne interfering, she being the biggest star on Raw right now. Like imagine the heat she'd get.
Bro,
you gotta take
they They literally treating Rhea Ripley like she's
They
Wonder
doing
Woman, bro.
interference. They doing interferences way too much. They basically had a bloodline rules match between CM Punk and John Cena. They doing interferences way too much. I hate like the interference is way too telegraphed. Everybody who come out, they song have to play like they gotta have like they song just gotta be played when they come out. Like
Then Solo winning the title didn't even feel as big as it should because Hikuleo would debut.
I'm not mad at that. No, I ain't mad at that because I think it was right. I think it was not for.
It happened the way it needed to because we know Solo was.
Like, I think it happened too late. I think the heat not there. Like they should have did this at WrestleMania after Survivor Series at War Games. The heat not there. Like people saying it happened too fast. I think it happened too late.
Yeah, Solo should have been champion.
Right.
They wasted time with this.
That's the same thing I say about JC Jane. JC Jane being a leader of influence or whatever the fuck their name is. JC Jane should have been champion. Why was the North American belt put on?
I did say that. I was like,
why did Fallon get the North American belt when they should have just gave the NXT title to fucking JC Jane at that time? It happened too late.
They don't know how to capitalize. Even Jay Uso.
Bad timing.
Even Jay Uso run too late. You could have been this.
Yeah.
And then as far as with every match,
like they don't remember backstage.
Yeah. Night of Champions was, I don't know. Cody Rhodes showing heel tactics was crazy. He basically cheated to beat Randy Orton. But the whole dynamic of this injury thing that they doing is crazy because that happened last year. He had a back injury. And then that's how he lost against Gunther. Gunther was attacking the back. They do the same thing with Cody Rhodes.
It was a pin. It was a botched pin.
Yeah,
that was a botched pin too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. And I'm glad that Randy brought that point up, that it was a botched pin. But as far as with Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes was being dirty the whole match. And then go had the audacity to give a shout out to Randy.
I feel like the way they look.
They bitching Randy Orton out, bro. Like
Kevin Owens is right. Kevin Owens is right. Kevin Owens' poise makes sense now.
Throughout the tournament, Randy it was never a problem with his back. Like obviously he got the history, but that was never brought up in the other two matches he had prior to this.
Yep.
So I don't know. That didn't make sense to me.
That's why I said the whole dynamic with the back inclusion was just weird because like they didn't say nothing about it in the previous matches.
Yeah. Druid, I think he might come heel before that.
Yeah, he may be before that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think before that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he needs to be heel before.
He's gonna be heel real. He's gonna be real soon.
I don't know. I still think they need a face to replace him though.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen at SummerSlam. It's not happening that soon. They gotta find the right face to replace him.
I wish I would say Drew, but Drew a better heel than the face. So.
Yeah.
That's true. Mm-hmm. And the thing that makes it so bad is that they're not investing time into people.
No.
Even under the Vince administration, like I know people say a lot about the Vince administration, and I get it, but at the same time, he did have some good decisions, and he knew how to use certain wrestlers to his advantage, I guess. Because even with Austin Theory looked better on TV when Vince was in charge. Now, dude look like a whole joke.
He'd be a world champion by now if Vince was still in charge. Maybe 2 times.
Oh. Yeah, he definitely would have been world champion. If Vince was in charge, dude would have been champion.
And he still got the talent.
And he's talented. He would have been a good heel champion at that.
Yeah. But now we're in a spot where he's gonna have to turn face now. Even though him winning the world title would have got massive heat at that time.
Oh yeah, they would have, yeah. But it would have worked. Because at that time, people really wasn't dipping. people hated Roman Reigns when he was tribal chief at first.
Yep.
Hated him. Like that Hell Heat was crazy, but you know, a lot of people, even in the IWC, would say, you know, Roman Reigns is the last real superstar. I could agree because they don't know how to use everybody else.
Yeah, because
Like
I
Roman
thought
Reigns raised the bar way too high. He set the bar too high.
I thought Brown Breaker was gonna be that, but not on the extent of Roman Reigns, but like a huge star. But now he's stuck with Seth Rollins for whatever reason.
Yeah. And see, to me, Seth Rollins is a hypocrite. Because how can you say, "Oh, I'm scared for the next generation because of how they're being booked," but then you got pulled and you're not even using it. You using it for yourself. The WWE World Heavyweight title exists because of him. Big Gold was not a WWE title. That was a WCW title, and it was still called the World Heavyweight title. It wasn't the WWE World Heavyweight title.
Right.
The NXT title. Yeah, the NXT title. But if you got that much pull, why you got Money in the Bank then? Why are you Mr. Money in the Bank? Why Braun Breaker not Mr. Money in the Bank?
True.
But he cares about the next generation. Okay. How come Bronson Reed ain't Mr. Money in the Bank then? Seth Rollins can get a title shot if he wanted to. He don't need a freaking. He don't need it. That's like Shawn Michaels being Mr. Money in the Bank. What the fuck?
Yeah, I think.
Imagine Shawn Michaels walking around with a motherfucking Money in the Bank briefcase. Boy, I would have laughed my ass off seeing that shit.
The WWE needs to be. If you can do 2 face versus face matches in King and Queen of the Ring, I don't see why you don't take a chance and do Braun Breaker versus Bronson Reed, because this faction is really not necessary. Even if it might feel quick to people, maybe you get something out of that. Maybe you can build a story out of it. Because he should be 2 stars of the future, but Bronson Reed, who broke your ribs, mind you, you want a team with him.
Yeah. And see, even with that, he could even use that. He could use that to his advantage as well. Have him win Money in the Bank. Have him become world champion or whatever the case is, and then boom, he gets revenge on him just for thinking that he could trust him.
Yeah.
You know, it could be like an evolution story where he look at Randy and do the thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
Like, yeah, I got you. Yeah, I got you right where I want you, Bronson. I got you right where I want you.
Oh, he forgot.
And you know I can get a title shot. You know I can. And use Braun Breaker to break Bronson Reed down or whatever the case is. But yeah, I just think it's weird. Not to mention this whole thing about him stealing gimmicks. I mean, it's right in front of us. Seth Rollins is really not original when you think about it. But I hope it ain't no Seth Rollins fans in the chat, because I mean that's a whole nother ball game right there. That's a whole nother rabbit hole.
My favorite Seth Rollins gimmick was the Monday Night Messiah, but he didn't keep it. So he just changed so fast from it.
And the sad thing is about the Monday Night Messiah gimmick was that it was stolen from Elias. Elias had an idea, went to Vince, and Vince gave it to Seth Rollins. Because Seth Rollins thought it was such a good idea that he wanted it. And he knew it was Elias's idea. He knew that.
Yeah, that does suck. But I don't think Vince really saw much in Elias anyways.
Yeah.
It's only so far you're gonna get with a music gimmick, to be honest. And it's not nothing against Elias, because he's a good wrestler. I'm liking his run in TNA now. But TNA might be a better fit for him than WWE was.
Yeah. But all right, guys. It was great speaking to
Oh yeah, yeah. We really enjoyed it.
I have to start cooking.
We do
Right
too.
now.
So do I.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my bad, y'all.
Nah, you're good, man. Again,
No, you're good.
it was great. It was great, judge it, the debate with you all. If anybody in the wrestling in this community that we build it, that want to have specific topics that they want to with one another, yeah, always just come to the family and we'll organize it and we'll make it happen, man. So again, thank you all for participating with us today.
Yes, sir. I appreciate
Thank
all
you.
y'all coming on.
Thank you for
Having the debate.
inviting us.
Yes, thank you for
It
having
was a lot of
us.
fun. Make sure y'all leave a like on the video, subscribe, comment, share so other people can see it. Other people can see the live. Watch the replay of it. Y'all have a great night.
Peace.
Have a good night, everybody.
Stay
Peace
safe.
out.